It's like such a convenient thing to say, I think sometimes, but I really do believe, logical or not, that like things do happen for a reason. It's always sort of like a theater nerd more than a sports nerd.
I might have to have you sing on the show.
I don't know about that.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Breathe Through It. I'm Mo Billings. I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest. She's the COO and Interim Athletic Director at Stanford University, Alden Mitchell. Alden is a longtime media executive who's helped lead major brands like Crunchyroll, Discovery, Uber, and Viacom, building big partnerships and shaping how content reaches global audiences. You'll learn a little bit more about Alden and her journey as we set our intentions and get into a light yoga flow. Let's get into it. I am so excited to have Miss Alden Mitchell here in the studio with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. So we're going to get into our yoga flow, but before all that, let's set some intentions. And my intention right now is being grateful, just having gratitude in my process. There's so many different things going on in my life, and I just want to be very present and grateful for all of it. What's your intention?
My intention today is to be open and forward-facing, looking ahead to what's coming.
I love that. Okay, well, let's get into this yoga flow.
Okay.
Open and forward-facing.
All right.
All right, Alden, we're going to keep this flow real light,
Okay.
real cute. Let's just start out in butterfly. So you're just going to put your feet together and then flap your legs, kind of just get into the hips, open them up. I always share with my guests that yoga for me is, one, a safe space, but two, it's kind of how I find myself, my identity outside of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
What's that for you in your life? Do you have any hobbies or just anything that kind of separates you from the grind?
For me, it's always music. I love to listen, sing along, learn new stuff. It always keeps me centered with myself.
Any specific artists or genres?
Honestly, no.
Okay. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
We were just playing the 2000s. 2000s is my jam.
That makes me happy.
Do you have any favorites from the 2000s?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. In the 2000s, early 2000s, I was working at MTV. So, I mean, just lots of fun artists passing through all the time. But, like, you had a little JT going on in there, which I heard that brings it back. Like, NSYNC in Times Square, that was a big deal.
I love that. What was your role with MTV?
I've always worked on the business side. I spent a lot of years in the media business, but I worked on our relationships with like cable and satellite providers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you have a list of accolades, roles. We're going to get into all of that.
Okay.
I want to know, though, how do you prioritize your mental health, your mental well-being while balancing business?
It's such a good and important question, and it's hard, right? But the way that I try to think about it is to give it as much attention and intention as I do anything in my business, right? So I treat my work with a lot of forethought, and I put things in my calendar, and I try to stay really organized from a professional perspective.
Yeah.
I just got to try to do the same for my life outside of work. So I will say, if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
But I will block off time, right? I'll put time in to make sure that I'm doing the right things for myself.
I'm going to have to steal that one. All about being intentional.
Got to be in the calendar.
Let's get into a twist. So we're going to take our right leg, put that behind our left, and we're just going to take our left leg over our right. It's looking great. And yep, you can just hold your leg and kind of just get into your spine. Yoga really helps me balance out, obviously, being on the court, but just giving me a different aspect to myself. It gives me something to look forward to. When I'm on the mat, it's me versus me.
Okay.
I don't have to compete against other people. And so I always encourage people, your yoga practice is yours. So make it special to you.
I will do. How did you get into it?
How did I get into yoga? My dad took me to a yoga class in high school.
Okay.
Didn't really like it. We had a yoga instructor in college, and I would say that's where I fell in love with it, the way that he taught yoga. Some days he was playing rap music, he was playing Tupac in the yoga session, and other days he was playing like a motivational speech or something like that. And so I'm like, oh, there's so many different ways to practice yoga. It doesn't have to look one way. And so that was over 10 years ago, and it's been a beautiful experience for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Let's switch sides. I'm hoping actually to become certified in the off season.
Yeah?
That's going to be a goal of mine. Yeah. And again, just wring out your spine. How would you describe Bay Area sports culture?
Well, as someone born and raised,
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it's intense.
Yep.
And it's all about the loyalty, right? So I grew up down in the peninsula in the 80s,
Okay,
right? So those were the years when the Giants, the Warriors, and the Niners were all like top of their leagues. And so I just have all these memories of like listening to the radio or like watching the games on TV or going out to the park. And it's just always been like such a huge part of, you know, our like day to day and my personality, that I just love it. And I feel like that's true of a lot of Bay Area sports fans. It's just part of our community.
Is there a memory that stands out the most from your childhood within sports?
Totally. So I will date myself on this, but I can very clearly remember watching Super Bowl 16 with my dad. I was probably like 6, but it was the 49ers playing the Bengals in Detroit.
Okay.
And they won. And that was the sort of like glory, Joe Montana, like Ronnie Lott, Roger Craig days. And so that's like my probably first sports memory. And still to this day, like diehard Niners, Giants, Warriors, Valkyries.
Yes. Come on now. I know you mentioned that you've come to a couple games. When in your journey did you realize that you wanted to be involved in sports?
It's been a like sort of roundabout, let's say, but I've always, like I just said, loved sports as a fan. I have no athletic ability whatsoever, but I do enjoy the overall experience. And in my sort of career in the media business, I, really connected with the notion of fandom. And what it's like to sort of cultivate a brand and connect with people through that brand and entertainment. And so when an opportunity came around to go and work for the Pac-12, and that was like such a natural extension of like what it means to build a fandom. Oh, sad. They might be resurrecting.
I hope
it's
so.
possible,
I really hope so.
So that was my like first official sort of sports job, let's say. Being in that environment was just always so energized and working in collegiate athletics with that sort of connection to, young student athletes who are, giving it their all and working hard in school at the same time. I just found it really purposeful.
I love that. Okay, we're gonna get out of this pose. We're gonna go into cat-cow.
Okay.
So go on all fours. Plant your hands into the ground, knees as well. We'll start with cat, where you're just lifting up through your shoulders, push your arms into the mat, lifting your spine up. Release that with cow. And through your practice of yoga, make sure you're breathing. That's the biggest thing, just connecting to your breath. Go back into cat. And cow. Let's get into our downward dog. You can pedal out your dog, stretch the day out. And from here, we're gonna go into a chaturanga, to an upward dog. Yes, ma'am. We'll do one more downward dog. And now we're gonna take our hands, walk them towards your feet, and go to the center of your mat. Let's hit chair pose. So you're gonna take your arms high, sit in the chair, just let it flow. When you were young, did you play sports?
No.
No?
I mean, kind of, but never with any sort of capability. I was always sort of like a theater nerd more than a sports nerd.
That was your passion growing up?
Yes.
Were you in any performances that might be notable?
Notable, no. I mean, high school theater, yeah, super notable.
Okay.
No, not really, but I just, again, my love of music and performance was sort of the thing.
I might have to have you sing on the show.
I don't know about that.
We're gonna forward fold from here. Hang, let your head hang heavy. Halfway lift. And we're gonna bring it on back down. And we're gonna end with just child's pose. Take a second for yourself. Ground back into your intention. Couple deep breaths. You survived the yoga flow.
Hooray.
How you feeling?
I feel great.
All right, cool. Well, let's get into the next segment.
Okay.
So I want to get into your career a little bit.
Okay.
You have worked in so many different spaces around so many different people.
Mhm.
But I want to know, this past March, you were named the interim athletic director at Stanford. What was your reaction when you got the news?
Just feeling so honored, truly. Having grown up around here, like 10 minutes from Stanford campus, having gone there as a graduate student, I feel intensely personally about the place and take that work really, really seriously. And so to have the opportunity to, even if only on an interim basis, step in and lead and sort of help the department work through a time of transition was just truly such an honor.
How has it been for you juggling your role as COO and now interim athletic director?
Many plates in the air, that's for sure. It's a lot. There's no two ways about it. It's a 7-day-a-week kind of job, but you sort of know that when you sign on for a role in collegiate athletics. It doesn't ever pause. And the only way to sort of manage it is to ask for help. Right. So I have a great team, which is like the most valuable thing I could think to have. My kids and family are like super understanding and supportive of all of it. So to just try to keep good track of, where you're like over rotating or where you're not putting enough in and sort of asking for help to dial up and down is something I try to do. Right. Questionable, like how good or bad I am at it on a daily basis, but exactly. The days come, the days go, and we keep making some progress.
I totally relate to you as far as having good people around you. How do you build that team and make sure you have those connections and resources around you that you need?
I mean, this is in part the benefit of having a long career, right? You learn a lot along the way about the types of people that you want to have around you and the types of people that maybe you don't work as well with. And ultimately, like a high quality team is all about trust. Right? And to me, trust is pretty much rooted in the ability to be honest and transparent and know that what you're telling each other is clear and thoughtful and considered. So to me, bringing together a good team is people who are, going to merit that level of trust, and equally people who are committed to operating at a really high level, right? I find in a lot of ways that motivation comes from accountability. And so when you can find those sort of high potential individuals, give them a bunch of accountability, and then get out of the way, they find their way to success. It's awesome to see.
I like that. And I think that kind of transitions into my next question. As far as like core values, what are some of the core values that you're bringing into the space as you're in transition as interim AD?
I mean, work ethic is certainly one of them. Just being able to identify what needs to be done and making a plan to accomplish it has always been a big part of how I tend to work. But equally importantly is just your energy, right? I think trying to keep it positive, keep people focused on how they feel as individuals beyond just the work that they're there to do is always just a really fun way to keep going, right? 100%. It's easier to do things when you're with people that you know and like being around, right? So trying to create that sort of environment where, we're all here to do a bunch of hard work, but also look out for each other and take an interest in what we've got going on and, having a little bit of a fun, almost family-ish vibe.
I like that. I want to talk about NIL.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to just get your perspective on how it's shaping college athletics. Okay. Where do you see it going?
Oh my gosh, where do I see it going? I wish I had that crystal ball, truly. I mean, it's so fascinating to see how quickly it has evolved and truly how much it is already changing college sport. I will say that I think it's awesome that college student athletes are now able to monetize like the fruits of their labor and do something with their own name, image, and likeness. I think that there's still a lot that yet has to get figured out in terms of like what are the rules that go around it. Because what we're seeing right now, where there are very few rules, is just a lot of kind of chaos.
Yeah.
Right? So ultimately, where I would love to sort of see it land is for schools, institutions, teams to be able to fairly compensate the student athletes that are part of their programs, and to be able to do that in a way that's like mostly equitable across institutions.
Totally.
I think it's an opportunity for like great creativity for student athletes to be able to really think about their brand and what they want to be about while they're in college and, you know, potentially beyond. And it's really fun to see, you know, brands starting to show up and recognize how cool it is to, you know, start pulling on the energy of somebody who's like really on the upswing in their career. It's
Speaking of rules, I'm trying to see if we can bend the rules so I can get a couple years of eligibility back. So let me know if you can help me out with that.
Okay,
I would have loved to have NIL.
We'll put you in touch with the compliance people. Yep.
I don't know. I'm kind of both ways about it. Part of me would have loved to have NIL in college, but the other part of me is like, would I have been as focused? I don't know if I would have made it to the league, because I think my focus, my grind would have been so much different. You know, this is my 8th season, and now brands are starting to pour into WNBA teams as well. It's really cool. My rookie year, second year was nothing like this. So it's different as a professional athlete, but I always question, would I have been focused if I would have had those NIL opportunities when I was young?
Well, how has it played out like in your locker rooms, like since the W has seen such growth?
That's a really good question. I think it just depends on the person. It depends on marketability. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people aren't interested in it. They just want to keep hoop, the main thing. And then other people, like myself, are like, let me strike while the iron's hot, while I have this opportunity. I'm not going to play forever. I want to make the most out of this opportunity, meet amazing people while I can. And so, yeah, for me, I think it just depends on the person and what they're trying to get out of their experience. Kind of like you mentioned with college athletes.
Yeah.
What would you say the mentality is of college athletes right now? Do you see them being kids still and able just to have that freedom and fun of just playing, or is it just such a business now to where they're like, I need my money, I'm so focused?
I mean, I would say it's a mix, but I'll speak for Stanford, right, where we take really seriously the notion of like student and athlete and holding both of those like elements and personalities like in equal importance. And so we put a lot of thought and work and effort into ensuring that if you're coming to Stanford to be a student athlete, you also get to have like an amazing college experience. It's very much still a priority to ensure that it's not purely a business while they're in college.
Totally.
The flip side of it is, you know, it's still the case that the vast majority of collegiate athletes are not going to go on to a career in the pros.
Do you think college athletes realize that, or is everyone delusional?
No, of course not. I mean, everyone's competitive, right? Like, and it's good for us, right? Like, we want 100 Stanford football players all thinking they're on their way to the NFL, right? We want 15 gals on the women's basketball team to be on their way into the league, right? Competing at that level. But no, I raised the point because it does sort of make for a financial opportunity to like gain a real like running start on your post-collegiate life.
Totally.
If you're able to sort of collect a little bit while you're, you know, still in the university.
I love that opportunity for student athletes and them being able to give back to their families and share in just a really special and different way, a very unique way. Shifting gears a little bit, I want to know just some differences. You wear so many hats. I admire all the places that you've worked, Uber, Viacom, and now here at Stanford. What are just some of the differences that you see, and even maybe some similarities between those businesses? And even MTV. We got to talk about MTV.
Yes, and we need to talk about my time with Oprah Winfrey as well. So
I want to hear all the things.
Yes, no, I think that like really the through line is what we were talking about earlier. It's about fandom, right? And like there are so many ways to engage humans around things that they care about and building communities around things that they love, whether that's a band or a TV show or a sports team. It's really kind of inspiring to sort of figure out how you are able to gather people and rally them around something that they have in common. And that, I think, has been, whether I knew it or not, always the thing that I was kind of seeking out throughout my entire career. So my first job was I went and worked at Disney, which was a brand that like I had loved as a kid, and like, you know, we're from California, so like you go to Disneyland when you're a kid, and I was like so delighted about the fact that I got to go engage with that brand as part of the company. And that was just sort of the start of it, right? It feels great to have your work be something that people understand and have affinity for. And so that's just sort of like what I pursued all the way through. And it's been incredibly rewarding. I think the other side of it is, you know, on the sort of flip side from the brand aspect or the actual nature of the business that you're in, you know, it really has been an evolution for me of learning that I'm an operator. Like I love being around people. I love rolling up my sleeves and like having a long list of things to do and getting them done. Love that, right? So the combination at Stanford is kind of perfect, right? Where there's this thing that people care about so much, that's Stanford athletics or Stanford football or Stanford's basketball or whatever the sport may be, all the Olympic sports that we've got. And we have 36 sports and 850 kids in the program and 400 people in the department. And so managing all of those sort of moving parts on a daily basis, it's crazy. And I love it.
I know it's not easy. You seem to manage it with so much grace, though. And
I'm glad you think that.
No, I'm so serious. Something, though, that I really admire through your journey is just the versatility, working in all of these different elements and aspects in business. I want to know, were any doors closed on you? Did you get the no's, or were doors open for you and opportunity was always there?
Yeah, such a good question. And you know, interestingly enough, it's like over the course of the past 5 years that a couple of things that didn't work out really did sort of crystallize my focus on wanting to stay focused on sports for the rest of my career. So there were a couple of opportunities that I was, you know, in the running for that didn't play out the way that I thought they would.
More on the media side than the sports side?
On the sports side.
On the sports side, okay.
Yes. And so in the work of like preparing for those things and learning about them and gaining visibility into what that world looked like, it really motivated me to sort of focus my effort in that direction more so than the quote unquote traditional media. And so when the opportunity at Stanford came along, it really did feel like a full circle moment that without knowing it, I had been kind of preparing for a while.
So did you always have that mindset of when you had that setback, turning it into an opportunity?
I mean, not probably immediately, right? You sort of like lick your wounds and feel bad for yourself for a few minutes. But I do think that once I sort of got past the disappointment, it was clarifying in a lot of ways to help me gain better perspective on where I wanted to go.
I relate to that a lot. Last season, I signed with the LA Sparks. I'm an LA girl. So I'm going back home. I'm thinking it's going to be my Cinderella story, this perfect story in my book, right? I get released after training camp. It just didn't work out. We're going to say it wasn't a good fit.
Okay.
And for a couple days, I didn't know where I was going to be. I knew that I'd end up somewhere, but I didn't know where. And I had to stay open, like you had mentioned earlier. Staying open, staying ready for the opportunity. I got picked up by Dallas, balled out. That opportunity led to where I'm at now. And I look back and I realize if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have this opportunity with the Valkyries. So I definitely relate to that.
It's like such a convenient thing to say, I think sometimes, but I really do believe, logical or not, that like things do happen for a reason.
100%. And it's I'm sure you can relate to this, but when you go through different obstacles and things in your journey, and you can look back in hindsight and be like, it all worked out.
Exactly.
And if that didn't happen, this wouldn't happen.
Exactly right.
So
totally.
I'm right there.
Have you seen the movie Sliding Doors?
I haven't.
Okay.
I need to add it
like,
to
I
my
need
list.
you to go watch it when we're done here.
It's on the list.
It's all about those inflection point moments in your life and how things could have looked different.
Okay.
So I think about that all the time.
I'm going to tap in.
Okay.
I know you have 2 little girls.
I do.
Watching you, admiring you. Talk about your daughters, the impact that they make on you through work, through life.
Yeah, I'm just so lucky to be their mom. And I come from a family where I had 2 sisters. So to have 2 daughters, like, thank God, I wouldn't know what to do with a boy. They're 11 and 13 now, and they think they know everything. They're just like empirically fun to hang out with now, which is what's really cool. They have these just big personalities, and they are exploring their own sort of interests and figuring out what makes them happy. And it's just really fun to watch that. And mostly as a parent, like, what I hope to do for them is like give them the tools they need to make good choices, right? Like, can't make choices for them. Like, they're gonna rise and fall, and that's sort of part of growing up, but just like try to help them be able to think through, you know, what some of those choices look like. And it's, again, like something that I take a lot of inspiration from, like, is what will they take away from having a working mom? You know, what will that mean for them in their adult life? And they're my little sidekicks, right? Like, they're like the mascots of, you know, Stanford athletics. They're on the sidelines and like in the box and in all the places. And so they are just, you know, up for it all. And like I said, I just feel so lucky that they're mine.
What's your message to your girls as they're seeing you in your journey? What's your message to them in their journey?
So ever since they were little girls, babies, every night putting them to bed, I would ask them to say their magic words. And their magic words are, I'm strong, smart, and brave.
I love that.
And so we hang on to that. Even, you know, now that they're like getting big and teenagery and like spend a lot of time looking on the Sephora website. Of course. I do think that they have like internalized that notion, like, I'm strong, smart, and brave. And, you know, like, who knows when they're going to show up with a tattoo, but if those are the words that they put on their body, I'll feel like I probably did a pretty good job.
Hopefully it's their magic words that they write on their body. And also, I really like that. I think I'm going to have to steal that or adopt that. Magic words.
Please do.
My last question for you, Alden. What would you tell your younger self?
Oh, gosh. I mean, sort of going back to what we talked about earlier, which is there are twists and turns, but there is a path, right? And things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. And so to like take on board what you can learn from good things and bad and keep going, I think a little bit of that. I would also tell my younger self to, you know, I'm almost 50, and like sort of getting to this point, like, I care obviously how I'm perceived, and I'm thoughtful about how I sort of comport myself. At the same time, I would tell my younger self, like, don't worry about it. You know, like, do you, like, be thoughtful, be caring, be considerate, and also like know that it's gonna be okay.
You're so insightful, so wise. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Breathe Through It.
Thank you for having me. What a special pleasure it's been. I'm so happy.
Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.